So we are back with 6-4, standard form. So we've talked about slope-intercept form, so now we're going to talk about a different form and some of the characteristics of this form and why we like this form, what it helps us with as far as math is concerned. So the last form we talked about was slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form, you guys all know as y equals mx plus b. And again, I'd write that in my notes. And here is standard form. So standard form of a linear equation, and maybe I throw a box around that because it's got some mathematical language here, and I like to show you mathematical language. So standard form is ax plus by equals c. You're going to be able to, or you're going to have to identify slope-intercept form, standard form, and then something called point slope form and be able to know the difference between them. So this is something that you need to commit to memory. Ax plus by equals c. And it says where a, b, and c are real numbers. Real numbers just means anything rational or irrational. And a and b are not, let me kind of underline not, both 0. Because if you had 0 here and if you had 0 here and 0 here, you would have 0 equal to c, which is a number. And can you have 0 equal to 3? Nope, can't do. So that's why both a and b cannot be both 0. So now in order to use standard form, some of the pluses of standard form are to be able to find your x and y intercepts very quickly. And that's going to help you with graphing. Just another way to graph equations. Slope-intercept form is great for graphing too. This one kind of makes it quick and easy to find the x and y intercepts. Now, here are kind of the logical, the mathematical terms to do that. So it says, find x-intercept by putting 0 in for y and solve, or in solving. And then to find the y-intercept by putting 0 in for x and solving. We'll talk about it, and then I'll show you kind of, once you get the hang of it, what kind of happens. So here we go. Number 1. Example. So 2x plus 3y equals 12. So you again can see that it is in the standard form, the x plus the b, ax plus by equals c. So you can see it's standard form. And you're going to solve for the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So let me put x-intercept here and y-intercept here. Okay, now to find the x-intercept, this is what it says to do right here. It says put 0 in for y and solve. So I'm going to take this equation, and it says to put 0 in for y. So 3, and I see a y. So what I'm going to do is replace it with 0 equals 12. And I solve. So 2x plus 3 times 0, which is 0, equals 12. So this gives me just 2x equals 12. I divide by 2, and x is equal to 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So this means it crosses the x-axis at 6. That's my x-intercept. That's what intercept means, where it crosses. I can write this as 6, 0, because this is my x. So there's my x, remember, because this is x and this is y. So my intercept would be written 6, 0. So sometimes they just list it as x equals 6, and sometimes they list it as a point. So you need to know both. So if I were to graph that, and I'm going to do that right over here. That's why I pulled up graph paper. And I got to try to be very careful as I draw on these lines. So this means it crosses the x-axis at 6, or my x-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, kind of right there where my arrow is. Let me move my arrow a little bit. So here we go. There's my x-intercept. Okay, so that's 6, 0. Next, my y-intercept. It says to find my y-intercept, here it says, put 0 in for x and solve. So I'm going to do 2, and now I got x, so I'm going to put 0 plus 3y equals 12. So 0 plus 3y equals 12. So that gives me 3y equals 12. And then I divide by 3 divide by 3, and y is equal to 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So that's my y-intercept, meaning it crosses the y-axis at 4. If I wrote a point, it'd be 0, and then here's my y, 4, because this is my x and this is my y. So my point would be 0, 4. So here's my y-axis. So it crosses the y-axis at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I place it at. Guess what? I have a line. So I have 2 points that I can connect with a line. Again, use a straight edge. And of course, I forgot my straight edge again. Darn it all. So here's my straight edge. And dun, da, 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 you connected. You connected. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of quick and easy. Now, I will show you kind of what happens. Notice what happens when you were finding the x-intercept, and I'm going to just pick a kind of a blue color here to show you. So when I was looking for the x-intercept, I put in 0 for y, and then notice it disappeared. And I was left with an x equal to c. Notice I was left with the x term equal to the end. 2x equals 12. Okay, now notice here when I was looking for my y-intercept, I put 0 in for x here, and notice what happened. It became 0, it disappeared. So notice this, when I'm looking for my y-intercept, notice what I was left with. 3y equals 12. Just 3y equals 12. So what you can think of is when you're looking for your x-intercept, you take the x term and you set it equal to c. When you're looking for your y-intercept, you take your y term and set it equal to c. Remember, it's ax plus by equals c. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Maybe that kind of makes sense, but you can, of course, plug it in, but I wanted to kind of show you the shortcut, because once you understand what's going on, that shortcut really saves you some time. So you've got 3x plus 4y equals 8. So I'm going to find my x-intercept and my y-intercept. So if I'm finding my x-intercept, according to this right up here, this number 1, it says I put 0 in for y. Well, that's going to disappear. So I just take my x term and set it equal to c. So I take my x term, which is 3x, and set it equal to c, and solve. So I divide by 3 and I divide by 3. So x is equal to 8/3. Is it okay that it's not a whole number? Absolutely. So this is 8/3, comma 0. So that means it's going to cross the x-axis at 8/3. Well, I got to kind of do a little math. 8/3. So that's like 2 and 2/3. So it's going to cross the x-axis at 2 and 2/3. Here's my x. So 1, 2, and 2/3. Right about there. Okay. Now my y-intercept. I could follow this rule up here. Put 0 in for x. But if I'm looking for my y-intercept, I keep my y term and set it equal to c. Y term, set it equal to c. Divide by 4, and y is equal to 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So this is going to be 0, 2, or my y right here. So it crosses the y-axis at 2. Boom. And guess what? Connect your dots with a straight edge that Mrs. Smith doesn't have. Okay? Done. Done. Here we go. Another one. Number 3. 3x minus y equals 9. 3x minus y equals 9. So I need to find my x-intercept, and I need to find my y-intercept. So if I'm looking for my x-intercept, I take my x term and set it equal to c. Solve. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X is equal to 3. Goes through the x-axis at 3. See how quick this is? If I didn't even have to draw my graph, if the graph was there, boom, I'd already be done. 1, 2, 3. Done. Take my y-intercept, or my y term. Make sure you attach the negative. So negative y equals 9. Now this is really like negative 1. So I divide by a negative 1, divide by a negative 1. So this is really y equals negative 9. So it goes through the y-axis at negative 9. Let's count by twos just so I don't have to go so far. So negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8. Here's negative 10, so it'd be right here. And guess what? Connect. So the first two were negative slopes. This one is a positive slope, going in a positive direction. My x-intercept and my y-intercept. Of course, you can write it as points 2, 3, 0, and 0, negative 9. Dun, da, da, da. Y-intercepts. Okay, so there you have it.